The Eastern Conference has been an absolute dogfight this year. At no point this season has the top team in the East been more than 3 games ahead of the 5th-seeded team in the conference. And the battle for supremacy only got more interesting at the trade deadline when the Philadelphia 76ers swapped Ben Simmons for James Harden. Still, that blockbuster move notwithstanding, there's enough uncertainty with those two teams to not make them the clear-cut favorite in the conference. So, who is? Well, they've been right under our noses for the entire season, coasting along, enjoying their reign as the champs. That's right, the Milwaukee Bucks are still the team to beat in the East. Last season, the Bucks found a better formula after flaming out in the playoffs a couple of years in a row. They learned the hard way, but Giannis and company understood they needed to save their best basketball for the postseason and learn some lessons along the way. They swept their playoff tormentors, the Heat, in the first round before fighting through a grueling 7-game war against the injury-riddled Nets, where the basketball gods ruled in their favor when Kevin Durant's foot stepped on the three-point line in Game 7. Against the surprising Atlanta Hawks in the conference finals, Giannis' co-stars, Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday, stole the show, both delivering breathtaking performances. And in the finals, the Greek Freak grabbed the spotlight, dispelling any notion that he wasn't a playoff performer, dominating the Phoenix Suns to secure his first NBA title. Every step of the way, it seemed the Bucks exercised another demon, and as a team, they came out of that title run much more polished. This season, oozing with championship swagger, they've played some pretty impressive basketball, but health has stopped them from separating themselves for the rest of the pack in the East. Brook Lopez, the Bucks' defensive anchor, only played in 1 game this season before undergoing back surgery that ruled him out indefinitely. When the trade deadline hit, their core 3 of Middleton, Giannis, and Holiday had only played 28 games together out of a possible 57. But when those 3 did happen to share the floor, the Bucks were pretty much unstoppable, going a whopping 22-6 in those contests and posting a net rating of plus 11.3 points per 100 possessions, which by all accounts is, well, very good. Individually, they've been superb as well. Giannis, for his part, is flirting with his 3rd MVP award in the last 4 seasons, averaging 29 points, 11 rebounds, a block and a steal per game. What may be most impressive about the Greek Freak, though, is that he's averaging a career high in assists this season with the 2nd best assist percentage of his career. He's become more poised and intentional as a playmaker this season, and it shows.
In the first half, Grayson Allen missed the 3. Giannis battling, gets the offensive rebound. And then what a pass out to Allen, who pays it off with a 3.
On top of his passing improvements, he's also shooting a career-high 32% from behind the arc, according to Cleaning the Glass. Not staggering numbers by any means, but when a 2-time MVP is still improving at age 27, it's a terrifying thought. And that improved play is trickling down to other players on the roster as well. The 31-year-old Holiday is having one of the best seasons of his career and is widely considered to have been an all-star snub. Meanwhile, Middleton, who has admittedly struggled through the first half of the season, still notched his 3rd all-star selection and is bound to get back to shooting the ball like we're used to. Bobby Portis and Grayson Allen are both enjoying career years too, and the former has particularly helped keep the Bucks afloat without Lopez. The Nets and Sixers certainly look as formidable as any team the Bucks vanquished a year ago, but there are enough reasons to doubt them and lean towards Milwaukee making a 2nd straight finals run. Philly's new duo of Harden and Embiid is tantalizing on paper, there is no question about that, but who knows if it will work on the court. If anything, it might take some real time for the 2 stars to gel and find some rhythm, time they don't necessarily have. Harden, a ball-dominant guard, has had his issues with sharing the spotlight with other superstars in the past. Hello Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, and Kyrie Irving. What about their preferred styles of play? Embiid is, to some, the front runner for MVP this year, thanks in part to the Sixers letting him handle the ball more, operate at the top of the 3-point line like a 7-foot point guard, and create for his teammates. Harden has struggled in the past to operate with a big man like Embiid, who can be a dominant force in the paint as well. Just ask Dwight Howard. On top of that, Harden hasn't been his usual dominant self this year, as he's missed 14 games with a hamstring injury that has limited his mobility. And there are real questions as to what kind of shape he's in even halfway through the season. As for how they match up in the playoffs against Milwaukee, Embiid and Giannis would be one of the most entertaining big man matchups of the last decade. The Bucks would need their other bigs to chip in and be healthy, but that's about as even as you could get. Holiday is one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA and is pesky enough to bother a limited Harden. And between the third cogs of Tobias Harris or Middleton, it's the latter that's now proven he can perform come playoff time. As for the Nets, well, they have a multitude of questions surrounding their roster. Will Kyrie Irving be able to play in home games? That in and of itself might disqualify them as real contenders come playoff time. Is Ben Simmons going to be ready to play at a high level more than 7 months removed from his last NBA game? Will Kevin Durant be able to stay healthy? Can all three of these locker room personalities come together and become a championship contender in less than 3 months?
Not a chance.
That's a tough ask. Adding Seth Curry, one of the best shooters in the world, to the mix will certainly be interesting, but only heightens their issues at the point of attack on defense, with Irving, Patty Mills, and Curry, three undersized score-first guards, getting the bulk of their minutes. And while a healthy Simmons and Durant should help elevate them defensively overall, the Bucks at full strength are just flat out better on that end of the court than the Nets, and will be able to use their size to punish Brooklyn's lack of interior defense. That is the key to both matchups, Milwaukee's main advantage of size. There's no doubt the defending champs will miss their big man in the middle in Lopez, having dropped from 9th in points allowed per 100 possessions last season to just outside of the top 10 this year. And there's no question the Nets and Sixers are rooting for him not to return this season. With the 7-footer available, the Bucks can run double big lineups with Giannis. Plus, Lopez is an excellent drop coverage defender, which has been the Bucks' staple scheme on that end of the court. Without him this season, they've had to rely way more on Giannis to be their primary rim protector, as he's spending a career-high 40% of the time on the court at the 5 spot, versus last year, where he only spent 12% of the time at center. And that's just not what Giannis, a former Defensive Player of the Year, is best known for on defense. That's why the Bucks were active at the NBA's trade deadline, acquiring Clippers big man Serge Ibaka and a second-round pick in a 4-team deal where they moved off Dante DiVincenzo, Semi Ojeleye, and Rodney Hood. In theory, Ibaka could fill in perfectly for Lopez, serving as a rim protector and stretching the floor with his perimeter shot. But he's had back problems of his own, and it remains to be seen exactly how much he can contribute. The Bucks, however, remain optimistic Lopez could return in time for a playoff run, but Ibaka is a pretty good insurance policy. The Bucks aren't the only contender in the East with questions heading into the second half of the season. Actually, they might be the contender with the least amount of questions. Ultimately, in an Eastern Conference where the margins are too thin, there is just way too much uncertainty surrounding the Nets and Sixers for me to bet the house on either of them. On the other hand, the Bucks are avoiding the drama, playing elite when healthy, and still have arguably the best player in the world in Giannis. And that's why the East goes through them. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button.